Greetings, this is Bradford Townsend, and this is a forward research report from Garfield Park in Indianapolis, Indiana. Garfield Park is a very interesting park named after a president of the United States who unfortunately was assassinated. President Garfield was the only president of the United States and the only world leader that I know of that ever produced a mathematical theorem. A genius who taught at a college in the wilderness, frontier boundaries at a small college, which may be more like a high school hybrid college today, mostly self-educated. So it's very difficult to compare to today's standard, but a very brilliant man who rose to the ranks of a general in the American Civil War, was a strong advocate of equal rights for all races and religions. He was assassinated by a man who was jealous. Garfield Park is fascinating. It was a concentration camp. This actual location for Confederate soldiers during the American Civil War. Many died of exposure to the element, disease, malnutrition. I don't know how well the capture of the camera will be. You can see the gardens and a park here. It's similar to a garden on a wealthy English estate, or there's a conservatory. There's a statue over there of General Lawton. When the Spanish-American War ended, which there was a pacification campaign. It's estimated that at least 250,000 Filipinos were killed, and there were concentration camps there as well. So it's a bittersweet park, as it was a concentration camp. It's named after a president that was assassinated. There's a memorial to the dead Confederates. There's a memorial to a general that's famous for pacifying the Philippines. It's kind of ironic. The grass here is cut by lawnmowers that use fossil fuel. The fossil fuel is imported. Warfare is used, and brutal violence to bring that fuel in at a low prices with petrodollars that have no intrinsic value. So they're saying you have to take our fiat, means by command, by an emperor or a tyrant, by decree. It has no intrinsic value. Money used to have like a note, where you could take that note to certain locations and get rice or silver, so you wouldn't have to transport it physically. And then those notes were used for trade, but they were ultimately backed up by some kind of something of actual intrinsic value. Just thought I would knock out another video. President Garfield is a fascinating, forgotten president. PBS, public broadcasting, although a propaganda source, did put out a real good biography on him, and he's one of the great American, though short-lived, presidents, and would recommend that you look into him. This park, which I live right across the street, is truly fascinating culturally. This used to be a predominantly German city, and German neighborhood. Now it's become quite diverse, um, with about everything you can imagine. We have Asians, we have African Americans, uh, we have a University of Indianapolis nearby, Catholic schools, public schools, people who homeschool. We have quite a few homeless people in the area, and services to help them. Quite an artistic community with an art center right off of here, churches right on the Pentecostals, which were created by the Queen of England, the Pentecostal religion. It was researched by her psychologists and psychiatrists, and promoted by the Queen and the Anglican Communion, where a lot of people think it's an organic religion. They needed something that was powerful and emotive, that would keep Christianity growing and thriving. A lot of people don't know that. That's a factoid. These kind of parks, again, are unsustainable. There won't be the lithium battery packs to cut the grass, and we won't have. There still might be conservatories, though, which there's a conservatory here. I think it's the only conservatory here for a city that's growing toward 2 million people in the metro area, changing demographically, like the rest of the United States. Um, Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.